Hey, what's going on? Luke here, and we're here to do my tips and predictions for round 20 of the 2022 NRL season. That's a lot of 20s in the intro, but we're going to go straight in to the very first game, and I think this is going to be a great round. Hopefully going to get some more predictions right, some more tips right, because last week wasn't a good one. But the very first game of the round sees the Manly Ringy Seagulls taking on the Sydney Roosters. Very, very controversial. We're not going to go into the controversy in detail, but essentially a whole bunch of players are not playing for Manly because of little rainbows on the jersey. Now, it is like a Pride Week, and I believe this is Women in League round, which generally they wear pink jerseys and all that sort of stuff. But the Manly side have opted to wear a rainbow LGBTQ sort of themed jersey, and half the team seems to be alright with it, and the other half are completely against it and are refusing to play. So that means that it's going to be a very, very different lineup for the Manly side. Looking at the outs, so you got I think the ones who are refusing to play, you got Jason Saab, LAA, Schuster, Sipley, Olakawatu. There's a fair few of them. I don't know if all of them are for that reason. Ben Trbojevic is out, but obviously he's not out because of that reason, but he's still an out. But we got the return of Chico, James Seguiaro, YKTR's own, wearing the bloody hoodie right now. He is back in the NRL after years after his drug ban. So a big return for James Seguiaro. Congratulations. I honestly didn't think it was going to happen. I really didn't. I knew he'd sign with them, but I thought if they haven't already picked him by this point, it's not going to happen. But instead, he finds himself on the bench for the Seagulls. So congratulations. But realistically, the Roosters should wipe the floor with Manly. They really should. Although, maybe this sort of stuff inspires Manly. The season is on the line. This essentially could wrap up who's going to make the top 8 between these two sides, because we've got 9th up against 8th. So it is a very, very important game. So I can see Manly being really up for it, especially after everything that's happened. They did a bloody press conference yesterday because of it. So I can see them being up for it, but I feel like the Roosters just have way too much talent for them. Joey Manu has been absolutely killing it. He moves back into the centres, but you got Keary, you got Walker. They have a very, very strong side all over the park, and I know they haven't really hit the ground running in 2022, and I don't think they're going to be the team that's going to win the premiership or anything like that, but I think they're still going to be good enough to beat Manly. So I'm going to go Roosters. I'm going to go 13+. I think the Roosters just run over them in the end. Going on to this second game, we have the Warriors up against the Melbourne Storm. A little bit of not a controversial one, but we have Reece Walsh, who there's been a lot of talks of him actually signing with the Storm. We've seen the Storm be very, very lackluster, and Pappenhausen went down last week. He's out for the season. I'm tempted to put a line through the Storm, but I guess you can't do that. You can't do that to the Storm. But are they going to be good enough to beat the Warriors? Absolutely. I feel like they're gonna smoke the Warriors. I mean, looking at the actual lineup, Reece Walsh is back in the starting side. They've got Harris DeVito moving into the 5'8" role, and then Nick Meaney is in the fullback role for the Storm. So no Pappenhausen, obviously, but it is a very, very weak Storm side. I said this last week as to why I tipped the Rabbitohs over them, and that was with Pappenhausen in the side. It's just a weak-looking Storm side for what we've seen over the past couple of seasons, or the past decade, I should say. It's one of the more weaker ones. I mean, look at the back line of Meaney, Eremaya, Seve. Olam's really good, and then you got Grant Anderson. A lot of guys who are fringe players, if not even first graders. So I feel like Warriors are definitely a chance of winning this one. Will they actually win it? I don't think so, but I feel like the Warriors will compete pretty well, especially after they got absolutely towed up at the start of the year. So I'm expecting a hit back by the Warriors, but I don't think they're going to win. I'm going to go Melbourne 1-12. I think it'll be tighter than what we probably assume, but yeah, I'm going to go Melbourne Storm. On to the next game, Parramatta Eels up against the Penrith Panthers, 1st versus 7th. Parramatta are one of the only sides who can beat Penrith, yet they find themselves in 7th spot. Makes sense? No, it doesn't. The Eels just very, very frustrating, especially this year. They started the season fairly strong, and I thought this Eel side, they're really going to push it. I thought they were going to win the minor premiership. I thought this was the year they finally get their shit together. They have a good side. And it just isn't the case, and they're taking on the actual minor premiers most likely in the Penrith Panthers. I don't know, can anyone even catch Penrith? I don't think they can. The only problem for Penrith is Jerome Luai is out indefinitely, so whether he makes it back for the finals, I don't know. But I think it does weaken their side a little bit. However, Sean O'Sullivan has shown that he can step in and put a shift in for them. So, I don't know, I feel like they're such a well-oiled machine that they can kind of chuck in players. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point you see guys like Stephen Crichton or someone end up in the halves while Luai's out. But speaking of Crichton, he's actually not playing. They got Robert Jennings in the centre, so I'm not sure how long Crichton's out for. Obviously, the ear injury last week, but it is a weaker side than what we've seen from normally. But yeah, I'm actually tempted to tip the Eels here. I'm tempted to tip them because they just seem to get up for this game for some reason, and Penrith not that they don't get up for the game, but they're not really in any desperate need of winning this one. So Let's go Smokey here. Let's go Smokey. Let's go the Eels. Let's go the Eels. I don't know why. This is probably the most stupid thing I've ever done in my whole life. There's been some stupid things, but I'm going to go the Eels 1-12. I think it'll be a tight one. Let's go Parramatta at home over Penrith. I don't know what I'm thinking here. I'm trying to, am I going for a perfect round? Obviously not, because I'm tipping the Eels. Moving on to Titans up against the Raiders. We have 15th up against 10th, if I could speak. Titans, once again, very frustrating. Super lucky to not be last. I mean, the Tigers shouldn't be last. Titans should be. So, they're in 15th, but we all know that after last week, they should have been in last. They did go fairly close to beating the Bulldogs, but, going close to beating the Bulldogs doesn't really say a lot, and I go for the Bulldogs. So, the Bulldogs literally tried to hand them the game, and Titans still couldn't do it. So, I don't know, the Titans are just... There's just no way I can tip them. No way I can tip them. I know they're at home. The Raiders have showed enough for me. Like, Jack Whiten looks to be in pretty good form at the moment. I'm just going to tip the Raiders. I don't really have any particular reason like, oh, well, this guy's playing well and this guy's playing well. Apart from Jack Whiten, I'm just going to say Jack Whiten leads the Raiders to a victory. I'm going to go 1-12. I think it'll be tight. I think the Titans will score points. They definitely can score points. It's just a matter of whether Raiders can match it with them, and I think they can. So I'm going to go Raiders 1-12 for this one. No particular reason. Moving on to the next game, it sees the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. We see the Rabbitohs jumping into 6th spot. The Sharks remaining in the top 4. Sharks, very, very good side. Very, very good side. I sort of have mentioned in the past couple of weeks that they've dropped off a little bit, and I think they sort of had, but they seem to be back in form. Speaking of teams back in form, South Sydney, Latrell Mitchell absolutely killing it. They just beat the Storm for crying out loud. So if you beat the Storm, no matter what sort of lineup the Storm field, the Storm's always going to be strong. So the fact that they beat them so convincingly, like it wasn't even a contest. That's it. Right from the start, I was like, yep, nope, Rabbitohs winning this one. Latrell was like just throwing it around, and I feel like this is the best way the Rabbitohs can play is by just throwing it around and playing footy, not trying to like grind out games and all that sort of stuff. Like just let Latrell, like if there's space there, like they'll kick it on the first tackle and stuff. Although they didn't end up scoring, they were so close to scoring, but just let them play. Let them play what's in front of them, and I think it will work well for them, and I think that's what they're going to do. Whether they win this game, I'm not exactly sure. I feel like this will be the first proper challenge. I was talking about the Storm being a challenge. Obviously, it was a week inside. I did mention it, and, Papenhuyzen went down injured and all that sort of stuff. But I am going to say that the Sharks are like a legit top 4 side. They're a legit side, in some decent form, definitely capable of winning this one. Although this is like probably match of the round in my opinion, so I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that I think the Sharks are going to win this one. I think Sharks will win 1-12. I think it will be a close one. Could be proven wrong. I could see a Latrell masterclass. And if Latrell plays well, then Cody Walker plays well. And then if Cody Walker plays well, Damien Cook plays well. Kind of just a flow-on effect for the Rabbitohs. I suppose same could be said for the Sharks. But look, I'm going to go Sharks 1-12. Just a little bit more consistent this year. And they're not sort of relying on one player to get them up. So I'm going to go with the Sharks there. On to the last game of Saturday. It sees the Brisbane Broncos in 4th spot up against last place West Tigers. Poor Tigers, man. They definitely got screwed. A lot of people wanted me to do a video talking about it. I'm not going to do it. Like, I can't really say more than what anyone else has already said. They got screwed, and that's it. They got themselves in position to win against the top 4 sides, so it shows that they can do it against some of the better sides. We've also seen them get absolutely towed up by some of the worst sides as well, but in terms of picking this one, you've got to go Broncos. You just have to go the Broncos. There's surely no way the Broncos lose this one. They're playing well. They're up against last place. Everything says Broncos win this one 13+, and that's exactly how I'm going to go with this one. I actually haven't minded Jackson Hastings at lock, but at the same time, like they just keep persisting with certain players, Luke Brooks, and I don't understand it at all. However, they are improving. And that's something to be said. So, good stuff, Tigers. I mean, I know you're coming last, but you are improving. And then the Broncos, obviously, they are improving too in the top 4 again. So, look, this should be a good game. I expect it to be an entertaining game, a nice attacking game, and a win for the Broncos, 13+. Going on to the next game, we have the Knights up against the Bulldogs. A very winnable game for the Bulldogs. No Kalen Ponga for the rest of the season. I'm assuming Tex Hoy, which he is at fullback. This is, like I said, very, very winnable. Bulldogs, not exactly flying high, but considering the last couple of years, we are flying high. So I'm actually going into this game fairly confident. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm so keen to see it. Coming up against the Titans and the Knights, I feel like they're kind of similar sides. So, obviously the home crowd was behind the Bulldogs last week. Not going to have that this week. But I think the Bulldogs should win this one, and I think they will win this one. I'm not really going to go too in depth in this game, but you know I'm a Bulldog supporter. Obviously, I'm going to have some bias here, but I really, really do like this side. No Fatala-Mariner, who I think has been our best forward in the last couple of weeks. Like, in terms of this season, Fatala-Mariner is back to his best. And at one point, we weren't going to see Raymond Fatala-Mariner ever again. So I'm glad to see him back. Obviously not playing this week. No Corey Waddell, but it sees Jackson Toppany come into the side. I'm really hoping that the Bulldogs get this win. And I'm hoping Jackson Toppany stays in the side at some point instead of just like a one-off. So we'll see how he goes. But Bulldogs, 13 plus, you heard it here first. Moving on to the last game of the round, it sees the St. George Illawarra Dragons taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. Dragons picking up a victory over Manly last week. Cowboys picking up a victory, but they shouldn't have picked up the victory. But I think they'll bounce back pretty well. Although a home game for the Dragons. Dragons seem to get up for these sort of games. Can't really put my finger on the Dragons. I don't know whether they're a shit side or they're a good side. I really don't know, because it depends week to week what they dish out. But I don't know. I feel like I'm going to see a pretty good performance from the Dragons. However, I do think the Cowboys are going to win this one, but I think it will be a tight one. I think the Dragons have shown enough. They can compete with the good sides like they did with Manly. Not only did they compete, they won. And the Cowboys, you know, they struggled last week for sure. So maybe there's going to be a little bit of Origin fatigue. I was more thinking that they're going to take all the experience and the highs of Origin and go on with it. But maybe we could see them drop off a little bit. I don't know. But I am going to be tipping the Cowboys. It just seemed like the smart money. You got to do what you got to do. I'm going the Cowboys. I'm going to go 1-12 though, because I think the Dragons will defend quite well and sort of keep them in the game. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up here. Those are my tips and predictions for round 20 of the 2022 NRL season. If you happen to enjoy this video, make sure you go ahead and leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Use the notification bell. Don't rely on the sub boxes. Use the notification bell and never miss any of my videos. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and chuck me a follow on social media. You can see it on the screen right now. Link is in the description below as well. But I mention it every video. It's Mr. Luke and YT. That's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook's Mr. Luke. Just straight up Mr. Luke. But everything else is Mr. Luke, including TikTok. So go ahead, chuck me a follow, give me an ad, do all that sort of stuff. Also become a member of the channel. Link is in the description below. Click on it. If you see me streaming as well, you can also become a member through that as well. But just click on the link to my actual channel. There'll be like a join button. Go ahead and do that. Become a member of the channel. Shout out to everybody who already is. But yeah, guys, I'm going to wrap things up here. Stay tuned for more content on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. See yous.